Hey guys, Jason with the Patriot Podcast here. So within 48 hours of the election, probably within 24 hours of the election, we have started seeing respect in the world again. We haven't had any in the last 4 years. In fact, we've kind of been the laughing stock of the world with the Sleepy Joe administration. So within 48 hours of the election win for Donald Trump, we've had some serious things happen in the world that show that these world leaders are definitely respect him, to say the least, if not fear him. So within 48 hours, and read some bullet points here. So within 48 hours of the election win, he appoints the first woman chief of staff. The Taliban signals and wishes to be removed from the terrorist list. Putin announces the West is no longer viewed as an enemy. Mexico discourages large caravans from heading to the border. Finally. New York halts food vouchers for illegal immigrants. That's not going to end well at all, I have a feeling. Millions of starving people, they're going to cause a ruckus, to say the least. China expresses a desire for peaceful coexistence with America. Interesting. European Union leaders announce plans to prioritize American LNG over Russian supplies, liquid natural gas, LNG. Hamas calls for an end to the war. Bitcoin hits its all-time high and pretty much stays there. And the stock market soars to new records, just to say the least. Now, also, Trump had a plan to dismantle the deep state, he's announced. So he immediately is going to reissue his executive orders from 2020, restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats. He's going to clean out all the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatuses. He's going to totally reform the FISA courts, which are corrupt, and the judges seem to not care whether they lied in warrant applications. He's going to expose the hoax and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart. He's going to launch a major crackdown on government leaders and leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately push false narratives and subvert our government and our democracy. Or I should say, our republic. We don't live in a democracy. Make Inspector General office independent and physically separated from the departments so they oversee and do not become the protectors of the deep state. He's going to ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone else's campaign like they spied on the Donald Trump campaign. It's going to continue efforts launched by him, Trump's administration, to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside of Washington, D.C. He's going to work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at companies they deal with and that they regulate to avoid serious conflicts of interest and corruption. And then he's going to push constitutional amendments to oppose term limits on our members of Congress. If the president should have an 8-year term limit, these Congress members should as well, at least 12-year limit. Because we don't need any more people like Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or people like that who have made a career out of politics, because that's part of the mess we're in. It's part of how the swamp was created, if you will. So, and then finally, Trump gave a speech today, and I'll kind of paraphrase it. I put it into bullet points because I haven't figured out how to play videos onto my videos yet. Soon I'll figure it out. But for the meantime, I wrote down some bullet points to kind of highlight what he said. Pretty powerful stuff here. So Trump plans to deploy the National Guard and federal assets over every major city to restore law and order. He's going to allow the citizens to sue local governments and officials for damage caused by the policies and and passing a concealed carry reciprocity legislation allowing gun owners to carry beyond their state lines. So no more, it'll be a federal concealed carry instead of individual states like they have now. I know I can't take my guns in California because they're considered illegal, but they're legal in a lot of other states. Silly. Going to sign record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers. He's going to return he's going to return proven policing measures such as stop and frisk, strictly enforcing existing gun laws. He's going to take on and, if needed, prosecute the radical George Soros Marxist prosecutors for not enforcing the rule of law. That's a big one, because these rogue judges and these placed swamp judicial people that pervert our laws and activist judges, that is a serious problem and a threat to our republic. He's going to give victims of radical left prosecutors who chose not to prosecute criminals the ability to sue local officials for harm and suffering. If your small business is pillaged because of shoplifting that goes unpunished, or brutally attacked by a violent felon out on release without bail or bond, these people will be entitled to prosecution, and the victims will be entitled to massive compensation. He's going to instruct the Department of Justice to dismantle every gang, street crew, and drug network in America. Death penalty for drug dealers, and most importantly, the death penalty for human trafficking. I personally think that we should enable rope therapy like we did in the early 1700s for some of these crimes, because watching them swing in the wind is kind of a equal crime for their punishment of what they do. This child trafficking stuff is disgusting, and it has been a problem for far too long with these Satanists. It's going to deploy federal assets, including the National Guard, to restore law and order when local law enforcement refuses to act. That's awesome. He's going to overhaul the school, discipline, and juvenile systems, juvenile justice, education, and justice departments to overhaul federal standards on disciplining minors. When trouble's youths are out on the streets and gone wild, we need to stop it, he says. The consequences will be swift, certain, and strong. He's going to sign a concealed carry reciprocity legislation. The Second Amendment won't end at the state line. He repeated that twice. He's going to secure the border and dramatically increase interior enforcement and wage war on the cartels, completely eradicating them once and for all. And they know he's going to do it. They all know he's going to do it. And kind of an ironic story, shortly after the election, we had more than 20 homes so far in Ventura County, California, a bunch of mansions, I'm assuming celebrity mansions, stuff like that, people like that. There's about 20 different houses on fire, and they're not next to each other. They're sporadically spaced out throughout the neighborhoods, blocks apart, some of them, properties a distance away from each other. So these properties didn't spread to one another. They were intentionally set on fire, and the entire structures are burning, like massively burning. These are 10, 12, 20,000 square foot mansions that are completely being burnt to the ground. Interesting. I wonder if that Mr. Epstein list is going to come out, or maybe the Diddy list, or maybe a combination of both. But nonetheless, it's interesting to see these famous people burning down their houses. There's no coincidences here. I wonder what they're trying to hide, or maybe they know something's coming. Anyway, these are just some of many things just within a few days of the election that are going to highlight probably a pattern of stuff to come moving forward with Donald Trump coming back. I do want to say, pray, everybody out there, this is going to be an absolute shit show moving forward. I think before January 20th, because these people that have done crimes against humanity, treason on the government, or treason against we the people, the government people, these guys know that their end is coming, and they're going to do everything possible to keep their asses out of jail. And I think they're going to go scorched earth, but let's pray that they don't. Let's pray that God intervenes and stops them, because these people are terrified. Anyway, I'll give you updates on more, figure out how to post videos so I can actually play videos, speeches of Trump, instead of having to highlight little bullet points with my terrible reading skills. Thanks for listening. Keep like, click, and subscribe. Jason with Patriot Podcast. Again, thanks for your support. Keep sharing. Keeps the algorithms up, keeps my videos up on the top, and there'll be many more of content like this. So keep tuning in. Love you guys. Peace.